Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of should I incorporate? When should I incorporate? I'm self-employed or thinking about being self-employed. What should I do? I'm getting all these articles and information on incorporating. So this is part 2 of that. Hopefully that will help. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of talk about some of the entity choices that you have when you do decide to incorporate. The first one is a single member LLC, hence the name limited liability company. It touches on some of the things that we talked about in video number 1 of why we should incorporate in the first place, with the two really biggest ones being having that limited liability protection, again, protecting you from personal assets, things tied to your social security number, and the tax savings. So those, again, to recap, are two of the main reasons why you would incorporate. So a single member LLC is one of those choices that will achieve that. Another one, of course, would be the multi-member LLC. Maybe you've got a partner or some family members, or for whatever reason, maybe you've got 2, 3, 4 different members that you want of this LLC. That's fine, that's no problem. So you've got a single member, a multi-member, and then of course the most popular one, at least from what I can see, is the S corporation. So those would be some choices to make when you decide to do an entity or incorporate. The next thing is to make sure that obviously the cost is outweighed by the tax savings of this. Like I said, we've already talked about the limited liability protection. Any of these entities will do that because it's its own living, breathing thing. It's got its own number, it's got its own insurance, and you may own it, but it is not you and your personal assets. So the cost is outweighed by the tax savings, okay? So what would be some of the costs that would come by doing an entity? Well, the first, of course, is the actual incorporation fee. You can try to do that on your own. Here in Virginia, again, you can go to the State Corporation Commission website and do that, file the articles of incorporation. There's just so many other steps that need to be done other than just filing the articles of incorporation to get your entity off the ground. So really the best thing to do is consult Paycheck Plus or consult an attorney. We are not attorneys here, so I cannot incorporate you, but I can assist you in the process and help you walk through some of the things. Or of course you can contact an attorney and they can do that as well. But anytime you bring a person in to help you with something like this, there's gonna be costs involved. Another cost would be the additional tax return. So on most cases, you're gonna have your 1040 and some other schedules on there. And if you are a sole proprietor or even a single member LLC, you would be having a schedule as part of your 1040. But if you do the multi-member LLC or certainly the S corporation, again, the beauty of it is it's its own living, breathing thing. And with that comes its own living, breathing tax return. So, you would have the cost of an additional tax return. And then lastly, with any state, especially here in Virginia, but any state, you're gonna have annual fees to your State Corporation Commission to renew that. So, again, you want your costs to be outweighed by your tax savings. So let's talk about the tax savings. Where do these tax savings come from? I mean, what's the magic button or what's the magic eraser to make these tax savings go away? So let me touch on that just real quick, okay? So when you're self-employed and you have earnings and you have profit, you really have 2 levels of tax, okay? Number 1, you've got your income tax. Again, everybody's got to pay that no matter what. Income tax has got to be paid. But your second level of tax that people that are not self-employed do not have is the self-employment tax. That's the second level of tax. And basically what that is this Social Security and Medicare component of it. And since you are paying both sides of it as the employee and the employer, it's a little over 15% for just the self-employment tax. So if you add 15% onto, say another 12 to 15 in federal and another 5 to 6 to 7 in state, I mean, you could be looking in the mid 30% taxes paid on every dollar in profit. Okay, so let's just touch on that a little bit more. So again, when you're self-employed and you are a sole proprietor or a single member LLC, 100% of your profit, okay, 100% of your profit is going to get hit with both levels of tax, income tax and self-employment tax. So where the S corporation particularly, and even some multi-member LLCs that make an election to be treated as an S corporation, even a single member LLC for that matter, can make an election to be treated as an S corporation. The difference is with the S corporation, yes, you pay income tax on your profits, 100% of it. However, the difference is instead of paying 100% of self-employment tax on the profits, you pay the self-employment tax on your salary. Okay, so let me cover that again. When you're a single member LLC or sole proprietor, 100% of your profits get hit with income tax, self-employment tax. When you're an S corporation, 100% of your profits get hit with income tax, but not self-employment tax, only your salary. So you could have a situation where your S corporation makes a profit of 100 grand and you're paying income tax on that 100 grand, but your designated salary might be 30,000 or 25,000 or 40,000, certainly not 100,000. So you're paying the self-employment tax on the 40 or the 30 or the 25, not the 100 grand. So essentially you've just saved 15% of 70 grand. Well, you can do the math real quick. That's over $10,000. So that's where the tax savings comes in with these entities, particularly again, the S corporation, is cutting your self-employment tax on your profits, not on 100% of your profits, again, just on the salary component. So that's where you find your tax savings with these entities. Now, it's important to stop here and find out exactly what is the impact on doing that, okay? Well, certainly the impact on your Social Security, if you're paying a lesser amount on Social Security and Medicare, you can see where I'm going with this. Your credits for Social Security and Medicare benefits at a later date, when you get to 62 or 65 or 70, they're going to be cut. The less credits or the less you pay into Social Security, of course, the less you're going to qualify for. Okay, so that is something to be aware of. If you pay 30 to 35 years on a lesser Social Security because of a reduced reasonable salary, your qualifying benefits at 62 or 65 are going to be less. Okay, now some people say that's a good thing, some people say that's a bad thing. That's not up for me to decide, that's for you to decide. But what I will say is this: if you do an S corporation and you've saved $10,000 on your taxes by not paying so much into Social Security, what I would do, rather than buying a Harley or going to Hawaii or going traveling the world with that $10,000 savings, how about take, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 grand and fund a real retirement plan like a SEP or a simple or a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, and then enjoy the rest in tax savings. So at least fund a real retirement plan, not Social Security, okay? You can find articles, you can do the math, you can find lots of information on your rate of return through Social Security versus a traditional IRA or even a Roth or a simple, and it is exponentially more to go with an IRA. Your rate of return is just going to be better. Social Security is not an investment plan. It may be a supplemental retirement plan, but it is not a retirement plan. So some things to consider here for part 2 of when to incorporate, how to incorporate, when should I. Costs need to be outweighed by the tax savings. If there's any comments, and I'm sure there probably will be, hit me up in the comments below, questions down below. And as always, we thank you for your support. You can find us on the web at paychecks-plus.com, and on Facebook and YouTube at Paychecks Plus. Okay, again, thanks so much for the support, telling people, liking and subscribing. We really appreciate everything that you've done to help our little YouTube channel grow. Until next time, we'll see ya. Bye-bye.